Welcome to Just Play, your board gaming podcast. I'm JP, your host, and player 2, guiding you through the hobby, whether it's the latest hotness, it's the golden oldies, or the joys of tabletop itself. So grab a chair, sit down, relax, and just play. So, welcome to the Just Play podcast. This is a brand new podcast. It's literally launched today. We're really excited to kind of have you here and come along and listen to all things tabletop. So, I know what you're thinking. What you need in your life is another board gaming podcast. And here it is. It's right here. I'm passionate about board gaming and podcasting. So, for those that don't know, I've been podcasting for over 4 years now, and in the board gaming and tabletop space. I used to run a podcast called the Whose Turn Is It Anyway? So some of you may have heard of that, or some of you may have kind of jumped across from that onto this new podcast. And basically, welcome if you have. But if you haven't, then, well, this is the episode for you. This is the primer to introduce you all about what this podcast is and what it's about and whether it's right for you. So I'm kind of going to do two intros. I'm going to do an introduction to the new listeners, and then I'm going to do an introduction to returning listeners from the Whose Turn podcast. So let's start with the new listeners. So welcome. My name's JP. I've been in the hobby space for, I would say, 10 years properly. Back in the kind of late 80s and early 90s, I used to play Blood Bowl and Hero Quest and, the old staples and classics like that. But in about 2015, I got into board gaming in a big way and kind of gone through the usual curve of acquiring a few titles, realizing, oh my God, this hobby is amazing. And this is like the best thing that I've done in a long while, and really helped to kind of socialize with people around the table. In a digital age, it's something I'm very, very proud of doing. Starting small, amassing the collection, slowly and surely. I remember having a 1x4 Kallax shelf kind of stacked vertically. And I remember even just getting 4 board games going, whoa, chill out, JP. This is far too much. You need to calm down. And then, I don't know what happens with board gamers. You end up trying to collect every board game known to man and woman. And it just gets a bit out of control. And there's a definite curve as you go over the top and go, I just cannot buy everything and own everything. And you tend to then curate your own collection to actually what you get played, which is kind of where I'm at now. So 10 years of gaming. And obviously being on the podcast, as I mentioned before, has given me access to the industry and different contacts and games and things like that. And it's just been a real privilege to be a part of that. And, I wanted it to continue, and here I am. So a little bit about me as well as a person. I was born in the 80s. I absolutely love 80s culture. As you can see by my studio here, guess the movie posters behind me. These are some of my favourite films that you can kind of see some of them. And obviously we've got a little Gizmo here from Gremlins just chilling out. So this room is pretty much my kind of nerd shrine to everything kind of 80s and all things pretty cool. Music wise, I am into all sorts of eclectic different genres in music, from pop, rock, all sorts of different things. But even recently, I'd say fairly recently, in the past few years, I'm actually into synthwave, which is the 80s connection, right? Synthwave music is kind of like 80s synth styles and themes, but all done kind of with a bit of a modern vibe and twist. So bands like Gunship and The Midnight are probably two of my favourite synthwave bands. I just absolutely adore listening to those. And no doubt you've noticed from my intro music, synthwaves is a bit of a influence, as it says. Quickly, favourite game of all time. My favourite game of all time is Too Many Bones from Chip Theory Games. It's a fantastic game. I'll talk more about that in the future. I can't stop talking about that game. And those on the Whose Turn podcast are already rolling their eyes because I always talk about that game. But games I'm enjoying right now, Unstoppable, I would say. Unstoppable is a card crafting game by John D. Clare, published by Renegade Studios. And they've just done a Dungeon Crawler Carl version of it, which I haven't played. And that's an IP I don't really know much about. I haven't really got into the books, but I will do. It's on my list to do at some point in the future. But no, I'm enjoying the system of kind of getting cards and improving those cards as we go. But yeah, I'm enjoying that one a lot. Eternal Decks is another one that I'm absolutely loving. This is a rare game. It's a Japanese game that gets imported into the UK once in a bloody blue moon. And I managed to get a copy of it and enjoying that one. It's a lovely kind of cooperative puzzle card game. But yeah, I'm not going to dive too deep into these right now because, hey, that's what the podcast is for. We're going to come back and give these games justice, as it were. So basically, that's a little intro to me. And I like all sorts of games, whether they're light to heavy. I tend to favour heavy kind of weight games more. I think I like to have the brain leaking out the ear as I'm playing. I like to have my brain running white hot and just really give it a good old mental workout, as it were. So that's kind of a little intro to me, and hopefully that's kind of a line to what you're interested in as well. Let's go on to the next side, which is basically an introduction to people returning from the Whose Turn Is It Anyway podcast. So I think the main question is, JP, why are you doing a podcast by yourself? And it's a great question, and it's one I really want to answer because I think it needs a real good answer. And a lot of our followers from 4 years, right from the beginning, have been with us for a long time, and then suddenly saw the podcast just be put on the pause, and it probably came out of nowhere. And you know what? It kind of did come out of nowhere for a lot of us. And the reality of running a podcast is, that one had 8 of us in it, which is a lot of people. And managing a podcast with 8 players or 8 people was, it's tricky. It's tricky. Doing a podcast in general is a lot of work. You're recording, you're editing, you're promoting, you're doing all those things, but it's a lot of fun. It's a hell of a lot of fun. I'm really proud and privileged to have created Whose Turn and kind of ran that ship for as long as we have. And we've had such a blast recording, attending conventions and doing all of those episodes, of which we did, I don't know, around 140 in the end. And we had such a blast. And the main reason I think, for me to kind of move on and do something different is I'm a project manager, right, by day. So it means that 9 to 5, Monday to Friday, I'm constantly managing people. I'm managing deadlines. I'm managing things to get to a delivery. So after all of that, I was coming home and basically being a project manager, which is not kind of what I want to do in my spare time. And as fun as it was having, 7 other people on the podcast, it's a lot of work for me. And to be honest, doing the lion's share of the work, which I never minded. And this isn't a dig at any of the team. I love those guys. We're still very much good friends. We haven't fallen out or anything like that. They're still part of the gaming group. And I've just got to that place where I think something has to change, because I think when you're doing a lot of work around something that's supposed to be fun and it ends up turning it into not as much fun, you don't really want to be doing. And I think you need to give a good service to the listeners and make sure that continues to be fresh and exciting and all those kind of things. So that's the general premise of why I fancied a change. And hey, and now I'm here on my own, which is kind of scary. I'm not gonna lie, it's kind of different. And not only am I alone, I'm doing this visually, right? You guys can see me, which is kind of freaking me out a little bit because this is not my normal comfort zone. My normal comfort zone is to sit in a room with the mic on and not worry about the audio. I'd have to worry about, all these different aspects. So this is all new. And please bear with me as I kind of get used to this format and used to being more visual. And adds a lot of positives, I think, doing podcasts visually. Number one, most of the listeners want to consume it visually. A lot of people will listen through Spotify and Amazon and Google, etc., and all those kind of things. But a lot of people watch podcasts on YouTube, and I think Whose Turn Is It Anyway was missing out. And again, this is another reason why I wanted to do this as a solo project, because to do things visually is easier on your own. I can set up a studio like this and basically sit and chat to you about games till the cows come home. This is kind of what I like to do. So that is one of the reasons why I wanted to do this in a different way. And having 8 people fully on a conference call style situation is chaotic. And it's really difficult to kind of manage and get everyone's point across and making sure we don't cut across each other and all those kind of things. So yeah, this is kind of hopefully a more tailored and better experience. So hopefully that gives you a bit of a sense of what's going on and why I'm doing what I'm doing. But also, I just kind of want to do this podcast for me, you know? I kind of want to just see how this goes and, just got to see how it goes. And let's see. And thank you for jumping in and listening and joining us on this very start of the journey that we're all about to go on. So let me break down then the premise and structure. So let me cover off how the Just Play podcast is going to work. I mean, the whole premise of the podcast is it's not going to be too dissimilar to Whose Turn Is It Anyway, in the respect that I always like to feel that this podcast, like myself, you could be part of our gaming group, or you can kind of jump in, if you don't have a gaming group or friends or lots of people to kind of play games with, you're always welcome to kind of come and listen and learn more about the hobby in this way. So that doesn't change, but I kind of liken myself to be your player 2, all right? So your player 2 that's going to help you understand the hobby more, just have a partner in crime to talk about those heavy Euros that, make everything just sweat and just, your brain hurt and all those kind of things. And yeah, just a chance to chat cardboard and all things board gaming. So yeah, I always welcome to do that. But the structure itself, I'm just going to look over to the side because my notes are there. But the structure and how it's going to be different to the Whose Turn Is It Anyway podcast is I'm going to basically break down into various segments, which is nothing new. But the first segment is going to be called Pull Up a Chair. And it's basically our introductory segment to kick off the episode. You kind of liken it to when all of you come for a gaming event or game night, and you're in the kitchen, you're grabbing your cup of tea, and you kind of just, shooting the shit, as it were, to chatting amongst yourselves and learning about kind of what's going on and all those kind of things. And I really want to build the community engagement more with this podcast, and this is a segment to kind of get listeners' questions in early, and anything like that we can kind of throw into the opening of the show. So that's Pull Up a Chair. The next segment will be called Just Played. So this is going to be very similar to Let's Talk About Hex, but it's basically a deep dive into maybe 1, 2, maybe 3 games per episode, where I'll just talk about my play experiences, what I've been playing with the gaming group, what I've enjoyed, what I've not enjoyed, all of those kind of things. And I want that to continue because games are the heart of what this podcast is going to be about. You're going to want to listen to, what we think about different things there. So yeah, that's Just Played. The main segment will be called Centre of the Table. So Centre of the Table will be the core topic, which could be right from talking about mechanics in board games, the board games specifically, the hobby, the culture, anything and everything that I want to basically chat about. And this is where the pressure comes on me, right? Where I'm used to having an ensemble cast of players who would contribute towards the content. I'm going to have to come up with that myself. And again, I want to engage with the community to help me with that. Let me talk about the topics you want to listen to, and please let me know what they are and get in touch, because that's really important to me. The next segment will be called What's Hot, What's Not. So this is where I can kind of enhance the visual aspect of this podcast, because you're looking at me right now. I can share my screen. We can kind of go through the different things on Board Game Geek. I can show games off in a better light. I can share, what the board looks like, what the player boards look like, all of that kind of stuff, which I think is going to be really, really engaging for you as a listener / watcher on YouTube. But the what's hot, what's not is going to be looking at the Board Game Geek's hotness. And so every time every episode comes along, we'll have a look at what the top 5 hotness looks like and what my thoughts are, whether I've heard of them, whether I am excited about it, whether I've played them, and some of my thoughts, like quick fire, rapid thoughts around that. So that'll be a nice variable segment. So let's see how that goes. And then we kind of get to the end of the episode where we'll look at Just About to Play. The segment is called Just About to Play. And again, things I'm excited for, things that are coming up in my calendar, my gaming calendar. So whether that's conventions, whether that's some game nights that I'm looking forward to. So giving you some sneak previews up for future episodes where I may talk about those games. And then we get to the last play, which is basically our outro and sign off. So that's pretty much the structure, and it may change because as we go through, I'll get feedback and we'll get, just some things work, some things don't. We will morph and evolve this podcast as we go, just like we've done all other podcasts. So will this podcast just be me? Well, the answer is no, hopefully. I'd like to be getting guests on. One of the advantages of doing the Whose Turn Is It Anyway podcast for the last 4 years is I've amassed a good number of network connections within the industry. So whether that's publishers, board game designers, content creators, I've got some contacts, and I'm going to be hitting those contacts hard because I really enjoy the guests episodes that we've done on the Whose Turn, and I want to continue to do them and bring them on the show and have basically a good dialogue of bringing to life what's coming, new down the track or whatever. And I'd like to collaborate more with content creators, especially in the Southwest UK, which is where I'm from. And so knowing a fair amount of content creators, I want to get them on the show. Let's have a chat. Let's do some collaborations on different things. Maybe it's topics we chat about or talk about. So those episodes will be called Just Play with Others, and they're going to contain guests and convention coverage and things like that. And that's pretty much what I've got to say. I don't want to kind of make this primer too long. I just want to kind of talk a little bit about what to expect, so you can kind of listen in and go, you know what, I'm going to give episode 1 a go. So please do go and move on to episode 1. Listen to a full structured episode. See what you think. If this is your jam, stay with us and all of that kind of stuff. So I think that about wraps it up. I just want to thank you for kind of jumping in and listening to this brand new podcast, Just Play. And we're going to be on all the socials, basically Facebook, Instagram, and obviously on YouTube. And, any subscribe, follow, like, comment is always appreciated. I'll be manning those socials myself, just like I did before. And so please do get in contact, and I really want to build that community engagement with the show as well. So that about wraps it up, guys. I'll leave it there. Please jump into the episode 1 where I talk about the top 10 games that have basically made me fall in love with the hobby, and basically you'll get a good trail of how I've got into the hobby space. So hopefully that's interesting and some fun for you to listen to. But I'll always leave you with one sentiment, which is you only grow old when you stop playing. Take care.